Give it time, they said, upon learning that I am an optimist trying to spread positive vibes in the poker room, as if I am trying to accomplish an impossible goal. I've met many in my first year in Las Vegas who talk as if the risk of becoming a pessimist is 100% amongst residents. I usually just smile and shrug because, like Alice of Wonderland, I'm not afraid to dream 3 impossible dreams before breakfast. I believe imagining my impossible dreams is what makes them possible. Pocket twos only have an 18% chance of defeating pocket aces before the flop, but that doesn't mean it is never wise to play them. Sometimes the cost to play the hand is right, and the underdog wins. Timing is indeed everything, both in poker and in life. To be fair, I am very familiar with the dark force they are implying will inevitably take control. I have endured bouts of depression and been accused of needing to figure out the source of my pent-up rage in the past. I am not always cheerful and patient. Some days I would prefer to avoid everyone completely because I'm tired of turning on my charm and or having trouble getting sad thoughts out of my head. I try to keep that side of me hidden because it's not very pleasant to deal with. I am not always successful. I did think about the fact that leaving my support system of friends behind and immersing myself in the gambling world could bring out the worst in me before I moved. But I decided I was old enough to know how to protect myself, that I have learned a lot from pushing through the hard times in my past. Until recently, I couldn't really explain the mental gymnastics I have used to maintain my composure over the years. I would have said I simply chose to be happy and optimistic and not let things get me down. I would have said I have faith that God has a plan for my life and it doesn't include grieving my losses indefinitely. I did and do believe my purpose, and yours, revolves around shining your light to defeat darkness. I find it completely unironic that I moved away from a town with many celebrity residents that has strict lighting regulations which make the city appear quite dark, to a place known for encouraging dark behaviors and decorating everything with maximum sparkle. I think it's possible my light was hidden, as are the stars in Santa Barbara, and that Las Vegas may be the dark place I was born to shine. Interestingly enough, I also recently stumbled upon a book that explains the mental superpower I've employed to come this far, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. This infinitely powerful tactic can be boiled down to one word: imagination. The full procedure to employ it properly is a bit more complicated, but it revolves around the fact that our subconscious is constantly helping us achieve the self-image we hold of ourselves. This means that if you don't believe you can do something, can't imagine what life would look like with your goal already accomplished, you won't be able to accomplish it no matter how hard you try, because your subconscious will be working against you to maintain your self-image. Vice versa, if you visualize what your life would be like after you accomplish your goal and believe it can happen, your subconscious will help you achieve it. I feel it explains why I have made little progress on fulfilling my desire to be a full-time writer, artist, and poker player despite years of effort. I struggled to see myself in my desired role. My journey was inspired by an extremely vivid dream I had one night of myself at the final table of the World Series of Poker main event. The dream felt real, but it seemed too ridiculous to ever actually happen to me at the time. I felt the image I could see clearly was unrealistic and believed the dream was simply meant to steer my life in this direction. I didn't believe the dream was a picture of what it would look like to succeed. I knew I didn't have $10K to risk on poker, and that I would need to be really rich to feel comfortable doing so. I said something like this to a wealthy stranger one random night at a catering gig a few years into my journey, and found myself being sternly corrected. He told me that there are plenty of men out there with more than $10K they can afford to lose in their annual budget, and those men would love the opportunity to be the guy who helped a talented gal no one else knew become the first woman to win the main event. I'm writing this to thank that guy for helping me believe such things happen. That conversation helped me begin to see myself as someone who might someday be in the right place at the right time and meet the person who would like to see me take a shot at the main. Yet, the entire time, I have preferred the idea that I would win my way there on skill alone. Even in the years I was hardly playing because I didn't have any money I could afford to risk, I wanted to achieve my goals all by myself, even though I didn't fully believe that I could. I don't like to feel like I owe anyone anything, and I struggle with the idea that there would not be unforeseen strings attached to a 10K investment in my career. Furthermore, my writing and art are more important to me than finding huge success as a poker player. Poker is the hobby that inspires my art and writing. In the days since I read Psycho-Cybernetics, I have engaged in a daily imagination practice, which begins with me taking a trip down happy poker memories lane and culminates with a visualization of me in a house that I own, making art and writing for several hours before heading out to play poker. I do try to remember the dream that started it all at some point in the sequence. Imagine myself at the WSOP final table as I did that night. But I've come to realize that I don't need to make it there to succeed. I will need to have some noteworthy success in poker if I want to convince anyone that God speaks to me through the cards. But it is possible I could find success as a writer and artist without playing the WSOP main event. So, as I begin my second year in Las Vegas with a minuscule bankroll yet again, struggling to stay positive under difficult circumstances, I will smile because I have come this far and understand how I got here, now more than ever. Perhaps the reality is that I'm currently as valuable as a pair of twos, but that's far better than the 7-deuce offsuit I felt like last year, and I am now able to see myself as aces and believe that the vision can and will come true. I don't know precisely what my happy ending looks like, but I know it begins with bravery, convictions, faith, and patience. I can see myself succeeding and carry that contentment and confidence with me on my good days. Sometimes people notice my Queen of Diamonds pendant and say, "It's you!" True story. It's happened at least 3 times. I don't often tell them that the Queen of Diamonds represents the Rachel in the Bible who I'm named after. I do always smile brighter, knowing my true self is beginning to shine through.